What's going on, folks? It's your boy, Marcus Aurelius. Keep it 100. This stream is late. I was supposed to do this Sunday, but I'm going to do it today. And if y'all don't watch it now, y'all watch it later. But what's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. I was trying to do this after T. Hassan went on, Doc T. Hassan, so I ain't bump heads with him. You know, he's the prime time show. You know what I'm saying? I'm the late show. But what's good, everybody? Today we going to talk about Cinderella complex. I'm going to explain to y'all what Cinderella complex is. I mean, it sounds like it's kind of self-explanatory, but we're going to go into it in depth today. I'm going to have a couple people jump in here, and if you want to jump in, just hit me on the inbox. I have my usual suspects up in here. But what's going on, people? This is Marcus, and today we talking about Black women's Cinderella complex and the myth of white femininity. And all that will be explained if you don't know what that means. So we're going to start with Cinderella complex. All right. So some years ago, an article was written by Colette Dowling in 1981. And she called it Cinderella Syndrome / Cinderella Complex. And basically, it's about women who, while wanting to be independent, are still seeking to be taken care of. Okay? While trying to be independent, because that's the culture that we live in now. We are telling women, you don't need a guy, you don't need a man, you don't need anyone to take care of you. You can get your own money, you can get rid of the middleman guy, get him out of here. You don't have to listen to him, you don't have to be subject to him, and you don't have to be obligated to him for his resources. We have built a society where women can go and get their own shit and do their own thing and have their own resources and own property and vote and all these other things. And, some of these things are great. You know what I'm saying? If you are a woman, the last thing you want to have to do is go through a guy for progress, go through a guy for your life. If you're one of these women that want these things, because not everybody's the same. But if you're somebody who wants these things and you don't want to feel like you have to, like it's a requirement to go through a man for these things, you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. Now, of course, there's a problem here and there's a paradox here. There's a paradox here. The problem is this. If you are a woman who is independent and you go out there and you get your money and you get your things, your stuff, your car and your house and this and your that, at some point you might want to look for some companionship, right? And that companionship that you seek should at this point not be based on those resources that you would have had to go through a man to have, because you have the resources. See, choosing a man at this point should be about, oh, I like this guy. He's a nice guy. And I don't have to choose him based on resources or income or anything like that, because I have those things. So now I can factor that out of my process, my elimination process, right? But what we still have is we have women who, with all the resources and all the houses and cars and, you know, whatever it is that you would have to go through men to get, they'll have all of that, but still, they still require and they still need the guy to come and take care of them. And that is the deal breaker. The deal breaker is make what I make or more, or even in some case, you have to double what I make. And we're talking about women who are making real money. It's just interesting that anytime these conversations happen, they don't happen, you know, in an average, you know, in a rule of averages. There's always this extreme, like, you know, I'm making six figures, so I need someone that makes six or better, like, you know, 6.5, 7, 6.5, 7 figures to make me feel like I'm being taken care of. If you're making six figures, your needs are being met like a motherfucker. The society has given you the opportunity, the education, et cetera, to put yourself in a position to make money that that man would make, that you would have to go through him to have. But still, you still need to be taken care of despite having the things that you would get from him anyway. You tell the world, you say, well, you know what? I make this money. This money belongs to me. This is my money. Right? Because he's supposed to come in and pay for everything. So you are still, you know, Cinderella. You still looking to be rescued from your independence. And let's read some of this article that is here. So the article is adapted from the Cinderella Complex, Women's Hidden Fear of Independence by Colette Dowling, to be published in May by Summit Books. By Colette Dowling in 1971. Buoyed by the militancy of the times, I left my husband. It was something a lot of wives were doing. Within a year, half the women I knew had walked out of their marriages and were going it alone, earning money, paying the bills, creating new social lives. 5 years later, the headiness of those first days of promise was gone, and the realities of living independently had begun to seem overwhelming. While the political push to legislate greater opportunities for women had succeeded, many of us found we were not prepared to handle the internal psychological demands of self-sufficiency. Collectively, women wished for more, indeed demanded more, in the way of jobs, freedom from restrictive roles, but individually, many of us felt caught in an old adolescent conflict, pulled equally by the need to live freely, by which too often we meant without constraint, and the need to feel safe. Okay? Just the other day, I told someone, I said, oh, I see Scott Peterson. This is an unrelated topic. He said, appreciate this insight. I cut back on my sugar intake because of you. I dropped my cholesterol by 53 points. No doubt. That's a sidebar right there, but no doubt. I appreciate that. So what I'm saying is, you know, Cinderella complex, what we're dealing with is, in this culture, we're telling our women to go be independent, go get, you know, go get your bag and all of that, right? Now, again, this article is from, you know, like 1970 or something like the 71. Let me pull up the date here. All right. So we talking about 1981. Okay, Colette Dowling, she wrote it in 1971. Okay. Now, mind you, here we are in 2021, where we've gone through multiple phases of feminism. And I think to some degree, a lot of the women from that era have wised up and have dropped the idea of, you know, all this independence, right? You know, all this, I don't need a man. I could do it by myself. Cause you know, you watch some Dick Cavett shows from back in the day. And, you know, he had a couple of women on there that were feminists, and they didn't want him to, you know, light their cigarettes and this and that, you know, because original feminism is, I don't need you to hold doors for me. I don't need you to do anything for me. I don't need any of that. You know, I don't need you to be chivalrous. Like, they turned all of that away. But I think that since then and up to now, there's been a move away from that, except for one group. And we're going to talk about that today. And right now I'm going to bring in somebody, Mac, and I see she has a camera on. Mac, we're going to bring her in. What's going on? You got to unmute yourself. Take it. Yeah, turn your mic on.
Hi, Marcus.
What's going on?
Not much, not much. How's everything going?
Everything's cool. Everything's cool. So what I'm going to be doing, we're going to keep on going about what Cinderella complex is, you know, how it applies to Black women and, you know, 2021, because this is an article from 1971, right? So this article is like, what is that, 50 years old? This article is 50 years old, right? So I'm gonna read a little bit more. It says, oh, okay, I'm not ready. I remember shouting once at the man I've been living with for the past 6 years. I was never ready to think I'd have to support myself and my children for the rest of my life. It was 1976. A year earlier, we had left New York and moved to the country. He had been willing to help out until I got adjusted. Now he said I seemed to be taking advantage of the situation. The demands of having to support all 5 of us left him with little time or energy to work on his fiction. While at first I was enraged by his suggestion that I was not taking care of my responsibilities, ultimately I was brought to the startling recognition that I lacked integrity. Before meeting this man, I had supported myself and my 3 children for almost 5 years. After meeting him, I wanted respite. I had taken to potting geraniums and watching the sunset, scarcely aware of the fact that my ambition had collapsed within 6 months of our move out of the city. I had stopped writing, stopped earning money, cut off my social involvements with the outside world, and become once more helpmeet, cushioned, comforted, indeed, feeling quite feminine. Right? So, so basically, what's going on, Ian? I see you up in there, and at some point, I'm gonna drag you in here. Basically, this is producing a paradox. It's like, okay, you want to be free of the obligations of a relationship, but you still want the safety and the security that it provides. And you know, when we talk about relationship, what we're talking about really is patriarchy. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about patriarchy. This system is patriarchy, and within a patriarchy, there exists certain safety nets for women. I don't have to argue it. It's not debatable. It's just real, right? And I would go as far as to say that, you know, this being an article that's 50 years old, and this is something a white woman wrote in 1971. I think at this point in 2021, I think that a lot of white women have pretty much abandoned that version of feminism. They've abandoned it. I don't see a bunch of white women or any other group for that matter saying they do not need their men. And I think that 50 years later, Black women are still practicing that version of feminism. And they are going through exactly what this woman is outlining in her article when she was talking about, you know, she doesn't want to take care of herself. She wants the freedom. She wants to have her career, make her money, but she still wants to be cared for. She still wants to be secured. She still wants to be provided for. She still wants to be protected. That is Cinderella complex. You're waiting for Prince Charming, right? You're waiting for Prince Charming. But in this case, you have your glass slippers. You have everything that you need. You know, you're not the poor housemaid with the two evil stepsisters and this and that and the other. In this story, you're the evil stepmother. You're the evil stepmother. You're not at a loss. You know, you got the dress. You got the pumpkin coach. You got the glass slippers. The prince isn't bringing it for you. You have it already, but you still want the prince. You understand what I'm saying? You still want the prince. You're still demanding the prince. You're still demanding that he is of royal lineage. And that's what Cinderella complex is. I want you to say some words, speak to me, talk to me. What's your view on this? I want a female perspective, please.
Sure. So patriarchy in and of itself is actually about family. It was not male versus female like they think with matriarchal. It's not how it works, but hey, that's where they are. As far as feminism, if they truly understood the principles and what feminism was really founded on, they wouldn't be feminists. But I do agree with you. They are stuck in the eras of where Black women think they don't need Black men, but then they want to holler when they don't feel protected. Or they want to holler when something's not going their way, but then you don't want to respect the Black man. They have this false ideation of what femininity truly is. And femininity is not just being a female or a woman. And it's not just looking beautiful. It's not just dressing up, putting on makeup. That's not what being feminine is. It's understanding the essence of what it is, who you are, what you're aligned to do, understanding that. And I know. Everybody gets bent out of shape when we hear the word submission because we think we understand or know what the word truly means, but we have no idea. If you look at the origin of the word submission, it does go back to the word control. But if you look at the word control, the origin, not what we think the word means, but the word actually was created from the language that was created to create English. Control only means authority. Yes, do women have authority? Yeah, you do have sovereign feminine authority. However, your job is to yield to the masculine authority. The authority of the masculine surrenders to God or whomever the Godhead is that they choose to follow. So it's not to say that you don't have power, you don't have will, but if women truly understood our power within submission and understanding authority, you don't always got to be right. You don't always got to say something. You can let him lead, and when he realizes he made a mistake, you be there to support. But that doesn't mean you got to throw it in his face or act like you're better than him. And the sad part is women want to be in competition with men, but there is no competition. No woman can ever be better or more than or whatever than a man. You can't outman a man. Let's be real. You don't even think like one. So therefore, you don't even know how they genetically move. Now, just because you might have an attitude, you say you ain't your masculine, but let's be very, very clear here. If you look at the word masculine, right? Mask and line, right? If you look at the word feminine, fem and non, there's no way in hell you have any masculine energy. I know we like to think so, and there's no way men have feminine energy now. You have beta males, I get that, but at the same time, still no feminine energy. They have feminine ideologies. They're taught that, oh, well, you got to be soft. No, that's not what men are. Men are logical, and they're supposed to be. That's what their creation was for. But we don't respect the creation of men. We don't expect the authority of men, but we want the protection. We want the other things that come with it, but we don't respect men as they are. And then now we run around here crying. But the crazy thing about Black women, and I'm really going to ruffle some feathers when I say this, it's amazing to me how you will submit to your white boss. You will submit to your white manager. You will submit to your white coworker, but you will give hell to a Black man. You will submit to other races, but you won't submit to your own. And not even being funny, majority of Black women, let's be very clear here, when they come around white people or in the presence of white people, Caucasians, whatever you want to call them, their entire attitude changes. But the minute they see a Black man, oh, he ain't shit. He ain't got this. He ain't got that. However, you're not saying the same thing about the counterpart. Always, because he's white, he got to have money. Or you see him driving a nice car as if there's no such thing as white bums, which there are. There are white men that portray to have, but they really don't. But because you associate wealth with white and not black, you turn on your brothers and so quick to put your brothers down and so quick to say something negative about your brothers when white men turn around and play you all the time. Prime example, look at Gary Owens. Let's bring it to the table. Look at Gary Owens, married a black woman, had all these jokes about his black wife and what his black wife do, and everything he had to bring up is about his black wife. Why was she never just his wife? Why was her color always inserted into the frame? Let's think about it. When they talk about you, they announce your color. Do they do that with their white women? No. No. But they do that with you. So you gotta start asking yourself some questions here. And where does your duty and allegiance really lie? You want to say it lies with white men because white men take better care of you than black men, but that's a lie. That's a lie. But hey, who am I? I'm just here, just saying. You know what I mean?
So, so yeah. So again, this complex, right? Like I said, you know, a lot of it started with feminism, and I think that Black American women have a lot of them. I ain't gonna say all of them because it's funny. I posted one of my posts went viral last week. Something, you know, in reference to Derek Jackson, because you know, right now we're in the middle of this whole discussion about, you know, wearing bonnets in public, and I pointed out, which a lot of people forgot, and you know, this is June. That was March. That was like 3 months ago. That, you know, Black women roasted Derek Jackson's wife for a bonnet.
Wait, Marcus, she didn't even have on a bonnet. She had on a hat.
Understood.
She was wearing a hat.
They thought it was a bonnet. So
and pull her up.
Yeah, what is not what she had on is what they thought it was. You know, it's like the cops thought it was a gun and it was a hairbrush, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So they thought she was wearing a bonnet. They roasted her up and everything like that. But you know, that went viral, and what I realized that there was a lot of women in the comment section that roasted the idea of wearing bonnets in public. So it's like, to be honest, that post with all its virality and all its replies and comments, that was the first time in a long time that I've actually seen women go against the sisterhood. You understand what I'm saying? Women going against the bullshit. And it kind of made me feel all right. You know what I'm saying? But getting back to my point is a lot of Black women they swallowed the feminism whole. Like they swallowed it whole. Like all these ideas that they're getting from the dominant society's woman, you know, including, and we're going to touch on the other part of the title soon, the you know, the myth of you know, Black femininity. I mean, white femininity. And I'm looking at this banner. It's looking crazy right now. I'm going to have to, is that spelled right? Femininity. Yeah. So, yeah, this myth of white femininity where it's like Black women unconsciously aspiring to be like white women. And the thing is, and you know, they that's what they associate with being feminine, right? That's what they associate with being feminine. The funny thing is, in order for the Black man to be worthy of that femininity, he has to return the white man's resources to these same Black women. It's almost like Black men have to measure up higher than other groups for their own women. If you think about this, think about the average Black guy, right? Average. I ain't talking about rich, athlete, nothing. The average Black guy, if he dates interracially, right? And you look at the quality of woman he gets when he marries or dates out versus when white men date or marry Black women. There's a blatant difference. So blatant that Black women actually make fun of it. Like they'll crack on Black dudes. They'll clown Black dudes. I'm talking about the average. they'll clown the average black dude for not being able to pull top tier white women, right? And the other way around, of course, white men could pull top tier black women because, like I tell everybody all the time, I say America or black America is white America's Dominican Republic. It's white America's third world country.
Mm-hmm.
So, the same way they treat us when we go to these islands is the same way they treat these white dudes when they come to the hood or they go to the strip club or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
They give those men the femininity that they see in those men's women, right? That's what's feminine to them. If you think about it, you talk about Birkin bags and all these things that our women do and our women dress like and this and that. They're chasing breakfast at Tiffany's. They're chasing that look. They're chasing that aesthetic. You know what I mean? Where they got the little clutch bag and the bad and bougie. They all want to be bad and bougie. They're chasing that white femininity, right? But they want that white masculine. They want that patriarch because black men ain't the patriarchs. That's why those women don't respect us because we're not the bosses. Like it's like you work at a job, a girl is not going to treat you like she treats the manager. She's going to kiss up to the manager and she looking at you like, motherfucker, you just work here like I do. And that's what they see us as in America. We're just on the plantation with them. You ain't the slave master. You ain't the boss. Why should I bow down to you, listen to you? Especially when me as a woman, I can go past you straight to management.
Marcus, I kind of want to piggyback before you put out your next thought on that.
Go ahead.
And what most women don't realize is that was black women at that. That was a design. Now, if you read the Willie Lynch letters, black women were considered good economic value. You don't think that's how some of these white people look at y'all now? As good economic value, good economic stock? Because they know that if they put something in you, you're going to put it in your children. And that's going to keep your children locked and going forward under what it is that they want. Not what you want, but what they want. So when we sit here and we talk about these things, right, we have to understand the design that this was put in, the psychology of all of this that was put into years and years and years and years and years and years and years of conditioning. But on top of that, what most women and black women at that do not realize about feminism, which is so hilarious. Feminism was created by white women because they felt as though black men were getting more notoriety and more advantages than they were. They didn't want black women a part of feminism, but they were saying that the white woman mattered more than the black man because the black man, because he was a man still, was getting in good with the white man and have more privileges than white women. So feminism was created for white women to say, this is our stand. And we can stand by ourselves and do what it is that we need to do. But then what you fail to realize as black women is you were forced into certain things, right? When we stopped working, right? A lot of people do not realize it, but it's in South Carolina. Some people who are listening to this, they're in South Carolina, they can tell you. There was a mandate, an ordinance put out, right? During a period of time when black women had stopped working during the Great Depression. They stopped working, right? They went to go home to take care of their families. They were ordered by the state to go back to work. They cannot sit home and take care of their families. And they boycotted that. Now, we forget about our history, forget about what black women have fought for, all now for you to, like Marcus so eloquently put, you trying to be Becky. You talk so much trash about Becky, but yet here you are, makeup, hair, everything trying to look like Becky. You say you better than Becky, black girl magic. But where's the black girl magic at, honey, when you so busy trying to be and idolizing behind someone else of another race?
Yeah. So I see, you got guys up in here. They basically co-signing what you're saying. And what's up, Alonzo? So you got metaphors Said the Willie Lynch letter isn't real, and there's actually something to be said for that. At some point, I'm gonna.
Really not. The person itself, the letters itself do dictate, and it's in Europe. You can go to the occult store and see it yourself. There are actual layouts of what they were trying to do with slavery. That's where the Willie Lynch letters came from. There's an actual book outlining how to grow a Negro slave. There's books out there on it. So whether you want to call right or indifferent, the thought process is still the same. Let's not get into that rhetoric, please.
All right, so let's move on past that. So I'm gonna read a little bit more of this article here because that's where the whole thing comes from. Forced to confront my own dependency, I discovered that I did not really want full responsibility for myself, that the idea of having to work for a living for the rest of my life was loathsome, that I wished to escape the necessity of exposing myself to others' abrasiveness, others' hostility, others' unfair expectations. I wanted people to be nice to me and to see how basically honorable and well-intentioned I was, but these good girl qualities were in direct opposition to other desires. I also wanted to rise in my profession and to travel more. This is a stunning moment in a woman's life when, after she has begun to move out, to expand, to raise her sight, she discovers that the rules have changed and she will no longer be rewarded for her compliance as she has been systematically since she was a little girl. Suspecting, finally, that my personal conflicts with independence were by no means unique, I decided to find out more about the experience of other women. I talked to psychologists and sociologists about their work on childhood development and psychological differences between the sexes. In the last 10 or 15 years, a great deal has been learned about the training, motives, and experience of women. In addition, psychoanalysts have brought new aspects to women's unconscious conflicts to light. Several years of research brought me to the recognition that within these related fields, powerful themes had emerged, ideas that ultimately yielded to synthesis. I came to the conclusion that psychological dependence, the conscious or unconscious wish to escape responsibility, you hear that, was the unidentified element in the conflict many women are experiencing today, and it leads to a condition that I call the Cinderella complex. All right, so let's stop right there. I think that any guy, and this again, this is 1971. It's 50 years ago. This is 50 years ago. This is a 50-year-old article. I will post the link for anybody who wants it. All right. But this is a 50-year-old article. Okay. So these are, again, people who they want dependence without the responsibility of I mean, pardon me, they want independence. And I've been using the term for years. I say independent dependence, right? Been using that term for a long time. These are independent dependents where you want security that patriarchy or relationships with men provide without the constraints. That is a conflict right there. You can't have it both ways. And that's what she's saying is Cinderella complex. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of these women walked away from old school feminism. And you got a lot of people, a lot of women now trying to rewrite feminism a different way where they can have their cake and eat it too, so to speak. So all this stuff about nowadays, men got to pay all the bills, this, that, and the other. And now it's kind of been flipped on its head to where men are being sold that this ideology was our idea. We didn't invent this stuff. We didn't come up with these ideas. And we're being told that, well, it benefits us because then it absolves us from the responsibility of taking care of everyone. When in reality, it was an experiment. It was an experiment. And they ran the experiment and they realized, hey, we had it better off before this. We had it better off before this. It's like, black people trying to get integration. They ran the feminism experiment. It backfired. And now they want to put the cat back in the bag, or they want to put half the cat in the bag, or they want to clip the talons off the cat. So they want the freedom without the responsibility of it. You wanted to be us. You wanted to be us. You wanted to be Prince Charming himself. You wanted the castle. You wanted the suit. You wanted all the things that came with being the prince, as opposed to being the princess. You had a great deal. Now, of course, you got men who abuse the power given to them in a patriarchy. You know what I mean? But patriarchy itself is not abusive. Patriarchy itself is provisional and protective. You understand what I'm saying? But you didn't want that. It's like the little kid who, you know, he want to be big. He don't want to clean his room. He don't want to listen to what his parents got to say. Oh, you want to be grown. Oh, you want to be grown. So we gonna make you pay rent and this and that. And I think about that Cosby show where, you know, Theo wanted to be grown man. So he came downstairs and parents was acting like they ain't know him and they had prices on stuff and this, that, and the third. You want to teach your kids real life? Okay. Put a coin op on the fridge and you put prices on stuff, and you know, if you want this, you want that, and you know, this is bed and breakfast now. You got to pay. We cook breakfast for you, but you got to pay. Like, wait, hold on. I don't want that much freedom. But freedom ain't free. It's not free. So again, when a lot of these, you know, these women, you know, from the 70s, you know, and I'm talking about white women, they realize, oh, we fucked up. Nah, this isn't what we wanted. And they went back. And nobody gave black women the memo. But you know what I'm thinking? At the same time, this black feminism is an experiment ran by white women. They're living vicariously through black women. They're pushing this ideology onto black women that they don't have to live. They go home to their husbands. They go home to their families. They cook, they make sandwiches. They're quote unquote soccer moms, right? They go home, but they push black feminism, you know, black independent, you know, strong black independent woman don't need a man. They push that onto the black female ant farm. And, you know, it's like an experiment that they can, you know, watch play out without having to live it. You understand what I mean? And right now, black women are in a funny place where they want to be taken care of, but they want their freedom, their perceived freedom from us when they never were, you know, we never had them in captivity. We were in captivity with them. So you ask a black feminist, what are you fighting us for? What freedoms are you fighting black men for? What have we taken away from you? What can we give you? Because we can't be the oppressed and the oppressor at the same time. You can't call us conquered men and tell us that we're oppressing you. We can't be slave and slave master at the same time. So, you know, when it's convenient, you tease us for being powerless. And when it's convenient, you say we're subjugating you. We can't be both. It has to be one or the other. Right. So, okay. So Metaphor says, I call it, okay, they push it because they are lesbians and get off on seeing their these masculine black females. Agreed. And then Metaphor says, I call it Johnism. You're crazy, bro. Johnism. But yeah, so at the end of the day, like I was saying, you know, when it comes to this Cinderella complex, because, you know, again, black women are practicing the 1970s, 1960s version of feminism today in 2021. They're practicing what my boy Masante Bay likes to call the lesbian version of feminism. The lesbian version. You know what I'm saying? Lately, I'm seeing a lot of women starting to call this shit out. And again, I'm happy to see it because it sounds better coming from women than from us. But you know, this is the thing. So Going to read some more of this article. Okay, women are brought up to depend on a man and to feel naked and frightened without one. We have been taught to believe that as females, we cannot stand alone, that we're too fragile, delicate, too needful of protection, so that now in these enlightened days when so much has become possible, unresolved emotional issues often hold us back. Women's leanings toward dependence are for the most part deeply buried. Dependency is frightening. It makes us anxious because it has roots in infancy when we were indeed helpless. We do what we can to hide these needs from ourselves, especially now with the new socially encouraged thrust towards independence. You hear that? Socially encouraged thrust towards independence. So we live in a society that are pushing women towards independence. While
I'm so sorry, but what you read, I don't know if that came from a woman or not. I don't know where that came from.
what part?
The part of the dependency and all of that.
Uh-huh. This
Okay.
is a white woman in the 70s.
Oh, I know.
Dependency is frightening. In other words, okay, what women tend to be afraid of in a situation where they're dependent is they're scared of, I guess, they being they're not in control. Like when you're dependent, you're not in control. Women
That's
like
the
control.
problem. You think you need to be in control, but you don't. What are you
Women like
controlling? Because
control.
controlling come with controlling, right? We go back to the word control. When we look up the word control, that's authority. So here's the thing with women, and we get all bent out of shape with the word control. Oh, they're trying to control, but where the hell do you think protection comes from? If you're leading, then you should be able to protect, right? If you're saying that you're going to lead, you're going to be in the front, then you should be able to protect. You should not be looking for someone to protect you when you're trying to stand out and be in the front. And that's where I think women get out of shape. Bent out of shape with me. You are not equal to a man. You never have been. You never will be. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how much muscle you think you have. You will never, ever be equal to a man.
Yeah,
Stop
but again,
lying to yourself.
socially, these two words are important. Socially encouraged. If society is telling you you're equal, if all you're hearing, if
However, if you pay attention to the actions of society, white women depend on white men. Spanish women depend on Spanish men. Asian women depend on Asian men. So society is telling you the bullshit, but that's like that conversation we had where everybody's talking about that Megan Thee Stallion, talk about this, but they going home to their man. Cardi B, I don't cook, I
of
don't clean, but
course,
Offset took a video of her cleaning the kitchen, sweeping up and shit. She's talking about she should punch him in the head, but yet what
but
is she still doing? Cleaning.
that's the shit you don't see though. Listen, out front, it's just like these movements that we have where all you see is black women in the paper on the cover of Rolling Stone and this and that and the other. It's really about what you push out front. It's propaganda. At the end of the day, if society and the media and this and that is pushing a certain ideology and image to the forefront, it's not too many people that's going to do too much digging behind the scenes to see, what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and this one and that one might be at home sweeping and scrubbing and this and that and the other. But are all they men gonna be like, yo, let me catch a quick video and throw it on YouTube so y'all see the contradiction of the bullshit? Remember, it's guys like us, me and other guys on YouTube. When we expose the truth, people get in their feelings, right? When you tell the truth, people get in their feelings. They don't want the truth. They want the story. Okay. It's easier to lie to people than to tell them they've been lied to. That's Mark Twain. It's easier to fool people than to tell them or to convince them that they've been fooled. They want the legend. They don't want the truth. The legend is more entertaining. It's flattering to hear that you're strong and independent and don't need no man. It's flattering for women to hear that they're equal. They don't want to be told otherwise. It's an ego booster. So to steal that from them with the truth, I mean, yeah, it's the truth, but you're taking something away from them when you tell them the truth. It's like telling kids there's no Santa Claus. You know, oh, there's no man that's flying here with my toys and giving them to me. Like, that's fake,
I
right?
get that, but if you think about it, you lie to your children, right, about Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, but then you get mad when your children lie to you.
Understood. But what we're dealing with right now is you're saying that, well, the truth should be obvious to them because it's in their face. Kena, you see me post things that women say on the internet. You see me post stats over the years. We could put those stats and numbers and research, and they will throw that in the garbage because it doesn't make them feel good. You know, it's
It
the
gets a little
same
loud,
as
my
when
bad.
it's the same. Excuse me. It's the same as when cops shoot unarmed black men on tape. At the end of the day, bias is what it is. I can show you stats, I can show you video. If you don't want to accept it, you won't. So these women, they want to feel like they are that thing that they're being told they are. They're equal, or even in some cases better than men. They can outman men. They can make more money. They can do this, do that. And again, black women have swallowed this whole, oh, we make more money than you. We're the most educated, this and that. We got everything to prove otherwise. We can show you black women are not the most educated. We can show you that on average, black men make more money. We can show you all of these things. It's facts. We can show you marriage rates. We can show you childbirth rates and all these things. All these things exist, right? It doesn't matter if you want to tell yourself, I don't need men and I'm better and et cetera, et cetera. But then you do things and say things that contradict that, like you need to protect and provide. The complex comes where, okay, you're Cinderella, but you don't want to play Cinderella to Prince Charming. Prince Charming is not fucking with you if you ain't going to be, the Cinderella that you need to be. If you're going to be evil stepmama or evil stepsisters, it doesn't fit. You can't have it both ways. And that's the thing here. It's really about, there's an inner conflict happening with wanting to be independent and wanting to be protected and provided for. If you got all the shit that you
Marcus, did
needed
you
to go
stop
through
talking?
men for, then you no longer need the provision. You no longer need the provision. You're still looking for provision, and you have what you need because society has given it to you. Society has made it available to you. You got women and men who make less money. I'm mad he makes more money than me, but I'm mad he doesn't make more money than me. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a real silly paradox coming. So you want to be told that you're the strong, this, that. And the other, and you're independent, but you don't want the things that come with being that. So right now we got metaphors. He says Beyonce and Jay-Z selling a fake cheating, empowerment, forgiveness tale to roll an album out, right? So there was actually no Becky with good hair. A writer came up with that character. I believe it. I said it from the beginning. I remember when they kind of made up this story of Jay-Z cheating and getting beat up. We ran with that. There was no proof to it. There was just a story to give Solange a reason to put hands on Jay-Z, right? That was the narrative that we rolled with. That, oh, he was cheating and Beyonce's sister put hands on I think I got knocked out here. I don't know how much of that came through actually. So basically, he's talking about how much money women make. This is the thing, right? If women are going to be seeking to be taken care of, despite how much money they make, then they don't deserve high salaries. And and it's sad that I gotta say it that way because there's a lot of women, and I spoke on this in the empowerment video, the video about Black female empowerment. What's the point in giving women high salaries if they are still seeking to be hypergamous? That means they're holding a job that another man could be working to support a family that he's expected to support with that salary. Female empowerment is almost like the trickle-down theory. The trickle-down theory is if you give money to the rich, then it'll trickle down to poor people. And actually, the opposite is true. If you give money to poor people, they'll spend it, and they'll give rich people the money. If you give men an income, they take care of women and children. If you give women an income, they will not take care of men and children. They'll take care of themselves, and they've been told to do that. They've been taught to do that, and they will do that. So, again, that's what this Cinderella complex is, and it's kind of breaking down relationships in our culture, our community, and things like that, where you have unrealistic expectations. You take that and you add social media and other media influences on top of that, and what you'll have is the breakdown of Black relationships. But this is not new. This is even pre-internet. Again, this is 1971 Cinderella complex. The dependent, independent woman. You're not that independent because your independence is sponsored by the patriarchy in the first place. Your independence is sponsored, brought to you by the patriarchy. A lot of Black women's independence, women's independence, period, actually, brought to you by the patriarchy. It's like a commercial. The patriarchy, protecting and providing for hundreds of years. Back to you, Marcus. So this complex, this paradox that women are living, where they want men in their lives and they're doing everything in opposition to what men want, but expect men to take the deal. Again, right now there's a conversation about bonnets. Right now, there's a conversation about bonnets, and it's almost like, okay, y'all don't like bonnets? We're going to wear more bonnets. Right? So I got a bunch of women in a post that I made that, like I said, the shit's going viral, who are shitting on bonnets. A lot of women are like, are you crazy? This is what we pushing? And, they calling women out on it. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Right? Because they pushing this whole shit further left, and Keena, I know you've heard the term pick me before. Yes, there's a girl on my page. She says, isn't that the point, to get picked? You calling somebody a pick me, isn't that the point? The whole point is to get picked. You want to get picked. I've said this before, I'll say it again. The funny thing about this whole
Oh man, I gotta get Marcus a better internet. Wherever he is at, we gotta get that back. I was trying to hear that point real quick. But hey, you know, black women always got something to say. They quick to call somebody a pick me when it's the truth being told. I noticed that. But if something uncomfortable that they don't like or they don't want to hear, that's when we become pick me because we're telling the truth. But when you sit here and subscribe to this bullshit, whatever this false ass notion it is that they have, then you're not a pick me anymore. You're one of them. But I ain't got time. Okay? We got too much going on in the world. We have to realign the black family. So much going on in the world right now to be sitting here worried about being called a pick me or not. You gonna call me that all day. But the craziest thing I always say, and they never like when I say this, you might call me a pick me, but I'm pretty sure your man will pick me over you. And then it's also crazy because you get called a pick me and you already got a man. So how can I be a pick me with a man? Because in their minds, the term pick me is, what was I told? It's a woman who disagrees with men to agree with men so that one of them will pick her or become his wife or some stupid ass ideology that they came up with. But that's just running from the truth. That happens a lot. It is what it is. They do that often because they don't like the truth. Thank you. They can't stand the truth. There you go. You back. Welcome back.
Yo, my connection is wilding out over here.
It's all good.
In the gulag.
I just was explaining to people, what a pick me was and when they use the term pick me, why they use it. But all it is just a term when a woman, that's how you know somebody's telling you the truth is when they get called a pick me.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it is. I'm gonna jump back in here on this connection here. Hold on, put myself here. Jump in here, then remove. Here we go. So, can you hear me? Am I being heard? Am I being heard here? So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, man. Again, doesn't have to make sense, man. No, this this route over here, this route I got to go. That's what's going on. So, but at any rate, yeah, man, that's the whole pick me argument. But again, it's just funny to me how the men, like those guys who are sporting the what is it, the bonnets in those photos, they don't look like men who either like women or that women would like, to me. And I said that in Gigi's cast, that these are not guys who are dealing with black women or dealing with women at all, as far as I'm concerned. But let's go back into this article. Like I said, Cinderella complex, man. It's that I think I don't know if I read this.
If you ask me, but okay.
Yeah, of course they are. Now we earn less than 59% of what men earn. Most women still enter the workforce with low salary jobs that creep upward or sideways like crabs on a string. 2/3 of women who work full time earn less than $10,000 a year. Only 6.9% of all women who work are in managerial positions. These dismal figures point to the economic plight of older women. Last October, White House mini conference on older women's released the shocking information that 1 out of every 4 women working today can expect to be poor in her old age. Why are you laughing at that? Social Security is tied to wages, and women who earn less get fewer benefits. In 77, the median income of females 65 and older was $59 a week compared to a median income of almost twice that for males in the same group. But we already know why men make more than women, because they work more and they don't work the same damn jobs.
The reason why I was laughing is because I laugh at that because women are always complaining. But here's the thing, let's be very transparent when we speak on this. Women always are complaining about something. We don't get as much as men, we don't do this as men, we don't blah, 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 blah. But who's the first one to say, I'm tired? I'm tired, this is draining, this is whatever. Ladies, y'all gotta pick a struggle. Either you're gonna be out here in this workforce and you're gonna work and not complain, or you're gonna sit your ass in the house, but you can't have it both ways. Oh, this job is too much. Oh, I just wanna, and I wanted this. I'm tired of being strong. Well, that's what you said you wanted to be, right? You wanted to be just like men. So you want to be just like men, you gotta do what men do. But that's the problem. They don't understand. Stay out of a man's place. And I'm probably gonna get a lot of slack for this, but I don't care. To be honest with you, that's why your ass was in the house. Because your place was to take care of home. So you didn't have to do the hard work and stress and be worried and have none of that shit going on. That's why half of y'all look as old as y'all do. Because stress is killing you. But we don't want to talk about that. That's for another day.
But that's why stress is killing us. The reason why men die
stress
early
is killing y'all because we're not taking care of y'all at home.
No, but also
that's how that's supposed to be.
No, I understand that, but
that too.
Being someone who goes out and deals with the everyday stresses of a career and or a job, dealing with bosses and deadlines and this and that and the third, and working those long hours. See, that's what the women didn't want, and that's what they didn't know about. They saw the paychecks. They saw the paychecks. Oh, you guys got all this money and you guys get to do a lot of this cool stuff. And we just in the house with the kids and cooking and stuff. This is boring. We want to do some of that exciting shit y'all do. We want to do some of that exciting man shit. But then you get to work and they complain about the dress code and they complain about the men in the office looking at them. And then they complain about the hours and they complain about this, that, and the third, whatever. And they're going through that shit. And that's not what they counted on when they wanted to enter the arena of men. So they're like, oh shit, we done fucked up. Let's get the fuck back. Let's get the fuck back into the house. Right? But oh shit, it's boring here. It's still boring. So let's negotiate an in-between. Let's negotiate an in-between where we can go to work, make our own money, not working too many hours, because we want you to take care of all this shit. So we can have the option of backing out when it gets too stressful. When it gets too stressful, when we don't want to do this man shit to the extent and the extremeness of men, we can fall back. We can get leave or emotional leave or whatever. And Ian, you are 100,000% correct. They got gaslighted into the workplace. Somebody lied to them. Somebody told them, hey, look, the grass is greener over here. That's why you got a lot of these women now. You got suicides, and I sent Doc Johnson 2 articles this morning of women killing they children. A lot of these women are killing their children. They can't deal with the shit we deal with. Listen, I do not want a woman's menstrual cycle. I don't envy it. It's not for me. Okay? It's not for me. But at the same time, you don't want to do what the fuck we do. You don't want to do it. Paycheck and all. And they worried about, oh, we have to ask our husband for money to buy a dress. You heard that part of the article. They're worried about having to ask their husbands for dress money. So again, they want to negotiate a situation where I can go to work and make my own money so I can buy my own dress and you pay these bills. I don't want to make bill money. I don't want to work 70 hours. I don't want to work that long. I don't want to do all of that work to support some shit or support myself or pay mortgages and things like that. I want you to do it. Now, if I'm by myself, I'll do it. But if I'm with you and I got to do it, I'm doing bad. You know the term. I can do bad by myself. Because doing bad means I got to pay for my own shit. That's what doing bad means. That's what a woman says when she says, I'm doing bad. I'm paying for my own shit. I'm paying my own rent. I'm paying my own mortgage, my own car note, this and that. You saw the memes. The girls will be like, no woman paying $3,000 a month in bills wants a what you doing text, right? When women have to pay for their own shit, it's a problem. They doing bad. Paying for your own shit, paying your own bills, paying for your telephone bills and paying your automobiles and shit like that. That's them doing bad. When they get in a relationship, oh, that shit got to stop. Because I can do bad by myself. You know what I'm saying? I can do bad by myself. They want the white woman's experience. They want the patriarch. They want white patriarchy. They think they got a black patriarchy, but they don't. They want white patriarchy. They want to be that white feminine. They want the white patriarch to go out, make all this 6 and 7 figures. And again, women only compare men to the top dogs. They don't say shit for average. Average is settling. Any comparison they make, any example they make is always the winners, always the top 20, the top 10, the top 1%. And we see some of those men getting divorced. We see a lot of those men getting divorced. So if those men are getting divorced, what the fuck is you going to do with your 5 or 6 figures? But at the end of the day, they bit off more than they could chew. And they still want to be taken care of while making the money that men would make to support families. Okay, so in 1977, the median income of female was $59. Okay, these figures describe the bitter truth on which many women who are still married, still romantic, and still supported by their husbands turn their backs. The rising number of women working today correlates closely with the increase in deteriorating marriages. I'm going to read that again. The rising number of women working today correlates closely with the increase in deteriorating marriages. So, white woman wrote this in 1971. 42% of all women who work are heads of household, and almost half the women who don't have to work because their husbands are willing and able to support them don't work. Society continues to support the notion that wives and mothers should have the option not to work. Society continues to support the notion that wives and mothers should have the option not to work. As a result of being given this choice, many middle-class women continue to think of work as kind of an experiment, a form almost of play. Didn't Kevin Samuels say this shit? That these women that go and get all these fucking degrees, these are ego experiments. He said this. I remember he said it. I heard him say it. So Wow, this 1971, New York Times Magazine, right? So let's keep going. Well, this is New York Times Magazine, Cinderella syndrome. So, like I said, the rising number of women working today correlates closely with the increase of deteriorating marriages. Just wanted to say that one more time. Okay, so almost a play. I work in a little health food restaurant down the street from my house. Joke Paley, the wife of a Georgia state official. It's only a few days a week for a couple of hours, but with the tips, I make more per hour than my husband, and her friends laugh, he, because it's about competing with men, right? So we were at a dinner party in Atlanta with the Cognac Five, educated but essentially non-working wives in their early 30s expressed their ambivalence about leading more independent lives. Their real names are not being used. Working for someone isn't for me, says Leanne, who had gotten far enough in thinking about, in her thinking about a job to recognize that she did not want to work as an underling. I want to be in top management level. I want to be the one who's doing the bossing, quote unquote. I want to be the boss. When asked would she consider going to graduate school and getting an MBA in order to make her dream come true, she said no. She was interested in this little course that she had heard about, one that would provide certain tools and ways of presenting myself so I'll look as if I'm smart. It's play shit. Putting on the hat and the tie and the blazer and being play man. Being play man, right? They don't want to do the work. They don't want the process. This is why men make more than women on average, is because the man will go to school for that MBA because his value in society is connected to his education and his ability to earn. They are not. It's a game. Society is not looking at women crazy or turning them away or ostracizing them based on their inability to earn. The point of pride for a lot of women in Atlanta, Pelly explained, is still how much money your husband makes and how well he takes care of you. Again, white femininity. The important things are what kind of car he can buy for you. Do you have help with the children, the house? Can you afford to go on trips? Nevertheless, these women admitted to a certain eventlessness in their days. They're bored. They're home bored. They couldn't quite break off from their bridge groups, though they described them as boring. In the empty hours when they weren't shopping or entertaining or chauffeuring the kids, they read romances. I read, said Pelly. Sometimes I get so engrossed and my little girl could walk out the front door and I wouldn't even know. That's how deep they're into their romance novels. It's like what I said to someone yesterday. Women date men that bring them drama. They like the drama. They're bored. Women, like, they don't want to be bored. They did a whole Boondocks episode about women do not want to be bored. Girls just want to have fun. Underlying these women's attitudes towards work, underlying their reluctance, though they are college graduates, to use their talents for something other than interior decorating, is the fact that they presume financial support to be their right as women. They presume financial support to be their right as women. They avoid ritualistically any recognition of how precarious their lives are. Nearly 1 out of every 3 American women, an estimated 26 million, lacks the basic skills needed to survive economically, according to the National Advisory Council on Women's Educational Programs. Many of these are displaced homemakers, women who have been widowed or whose marriages have failed, products of past educational and social patterns which do not apply to today's society. As a council report put it, neglected women. A lot of them are a mess when they find themselves on their own, said Milo Smith, the director of a center for displaced homemakers in Oakland, California, who had been a skillless, frightened widow herself. We're going to stop right here. This shit is crazy, man. This is all the shit we've been talking about. This is 1970. Ain't shit changed. This is all the shit we've been talking about. Yeah, you know, these women want to play masculine. It's, you know, oh, we strong and feminine. Then I find all these articles. Oh, the strong and feminine title is wearing down on women.
It is. It is. They tired of being strong. They want to be soft. They want to be cuddled. They want to be loved now. They don't
Listen,
want to be strong no more.
listen, this man shit is not a joke.
No, it never was. That's why trying to step into their lane was the most ridiculous thing that Black women could ever do, because you thought you could compete till you realize how much more it affects you than it affects them.
Yo, this man shit, this shit is gangster. This shit is violent. This shit is fucking real. Now, don't get it twisted. Being a woman is real. Don't get it twisted.
Being a woman is real, but being a woman should not be tough. It should not be hard. It shouldn't be any of that, because we're supposed to be soft.
Yeah,
that's what we're supposed to be.
You're supposed to be soft, and if you're soft enough, you meet a guy hard enough to protect you from the
exactly. That's why we're soft, and we allow the men to do what they need to do because they're hard enough to take it. While we're in the back being soft, they're hard enough to take it out front. But what we also have to understand, and this is where women get it all misconstrued, and understanding that you're soft and understanding your softness, you also have to allow that man that space to be that man, that space to have that authority, and to be who he is. And not to act like you know more than him or to be all up in his face. But let me tell you what you should have did. No, honey, you don't have to do all of that. Nor do men want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. So that's why when I said earlier, you out in the world's beating down on you, when you come home, you're supposed to come home to an oasis. You're supposed to come home to a beautiful woman and a good cooked meal. Why is that so hard? Why do we want to run from that? Because that way you don't got to be strong. You get to be you in your element, in your space. Loving on your man. I don't understand why that's so hard.
I'll tell you why it's hard. It's like I said before, if you learn one way, it's hard to unlearn. It's very hard to unlearn people. If you tell women all day, listen, you're strong, strength, then and you're teaching them masculine strength, right? That's what they're learning. They're learning to be strong masculines. You know, this is not even something that's just, I'm saying, like, they're learning masculinity. Women who, from their, you know, college age all the way up into their 30s, chasing a career. And then wondering, damn, I'm single. I want to be married. Because you got two types. You got the women that have the kids early and they're with the guy and et cetera, you know, they're single, whatever. But you got the woman who might defer family because they're chasing a career. That's what men do. Men spend their damn near their whole lives up until maybe late 30s, early 40s to get to a point of financial stability, then turn around, get a family, raise kids, et cetera. That is a very masculine thing that we have a lot of Black women assuming. Like they go down a very masculine path for their careers. You know, it's like this woman is saying, you know, these white women is play because they had an option. In our oh yeah, there's some Moynihan reports coming in the next paragraph. But in our society, it's a bit different because of the fact that, you know, our men have been hindered somewhat in their ability to match the white patriarch's provision. It's not that we can't provide. We don't, on average, have the ability to match white patriarch's provision. So you're talking about wage gaps. Well, there's a wage gap between Black and white men also. Nobody talks about that. We talk about gender wage gaps and how much white women make versus white men and Black women make versus white men and all these rest of the demographics of women make versus the white man. Nobody factors black or other, demographics or other ethnicities of men into the wage gap. Wage gap is always a gender-based conversation.
Yes, it is.
All right.
But when you look at families, it's ridiculous. The family wealth gap is ridiculous compared to black families and white families, but they only look at male versus female.
So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, when you leave that out, right? Again, it's really about black men not being able to match white men's provision in this country. And black women are looking at white women and they're demanding what white women have from their black men. You have black women on the internet talking about 6 figures is nothing. Oh, that's nothing. That's average. It's average. We know it's above average in this country. Most people, race removed, do not make 6 figures.
Marcus, I have to step off, and I appreciate you having me on.
No
I
doubt.
appreciate everybody that tuned in, and I will leave with this thought. If we look at what it was and who is and how is, right? Most of your domesticated white or European folks were domesticated by who? And originally, we were what the white woman that we aspire to be are. So maybe we need to go back to what we originally were before we lost our identification of who we thought we knew who we were. Black women, it is time for you, right, to stop being combative. Has gotten you nowhere. Stop trying to be strong. You're not built for that. Learn to humble. And I know that sounds kind of hard, right? But learn to humble yourself. Because at the end of the day, all that stress you piled onto yourself, black men didn't do it to you. Let's be honest, your mother did. Because your mother put your father out the house in some cases, and you following behind that single mother ideology. Don't you think it's time to grow up and step from out of that? But that's just me. But thank you, Marcus. I hope you have a great night.
No doubt. I'll holler at you later.
Of course.
So while I agree with Keena, the only problem with that is trying to untrain. It's like trying to take, a house cat and turn it into an alley cat. It's like trying to take a domesticated animal back to the wild. You can't take domesticated animals back to the wild. Once they're trained to be in a house, you can't reverse that, because now they're a different animal, right? So again, like I said, these are the things that we've been saying for a long time. So let me see. We're about an hour and 26 minutes in. I'm gonna read some more of this. From the day their marriage is in, many of these displaced homemakers who range in age from 30 to 60 are stricken with a sense of loss that permeates their entire feeling of identity. A blind spot exists on the subject of wives and work. Economic realities makes it all too clear that women cannot afford to work. They need to go after jobs as if their lives and their children's lives depended on it, as indeed they do. In the current issue of the Journal of the Institute for Socioeconomic Studies, New York Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan presents new data indicating that half the children of the current generation are likely to live in households headed by women before they are 18 years old, that 2/3 of the households headed by women receive welfare payments, and that before reaching 18, 1/3 of today's generation are likely to live in households headed by women receiving welfare payments. I wonder which third he's talking about. I'm going to continue. When and if women wake up to fact that is self-support is imperative, the solutions for such problems as who takes care of the children will be found as they always are when people perceive that survival is a state. Not only is the option not to work a false option economically, the fact that we still believe we have it wreaks havoc with women's career development as well as with issues of personal identity. So I don't know at this point, I'm going to pause right here. I don't know if at this point, if the woman who wrote this article is pushing that women should be independent in the workforce, or if she's opposed to it. All right, because she's kind of like wavering here. So many women still in their careers with the repressed expectation that work is temporary condition from which they will one day be rescued. I can do bad by myself. I might as well have been working in a hairpin factory for all the pleasure I was getting from my job. A museum curator told me she was unmarried and held an enviable position in Washington when suddenly, on the day she turned 21, everything that had once seemed exciting turned drab. Eventually, she made a connection between her depression and her belief deep down that women of a certain age should have the option not to work. They should be able to stay at home and paint or do charity work or rear children. The fact that she had to work was making her feel angry. To these women, pause right there, these women think jobs should be fun. They're activities, they're recreational. They're not and should not be survival situations. See, jobs for men, income is survival. Income is what our value is into society. And that's why we go hard. That's why we work all these hours. That's why we do all this, college education. We do every, certifications, whatever we can. It's different for us. I tell women all the time, your relationship with money is different from mine. My relationship with money is blood, sweat, tears. Your relationship with money is get it from me. Get it from me. Your careers and all that cute shit is an option for you. It's a game. It's recreational. It's recreational. It's play. So when girls are oh, I want to do this, and oh my God, yo, I want a career in this and that, and it's games. It's something fun to do. It's like the woman said, are you willing to go get the MBA that you have to go get to do it? No, I just want to sound smart enough to get the job and do it. And when it bores me, when I'm tired of it, I'll just walk out. How many of you dudes know women that will work somewhere until they get sick of the job and quit? Because they know that Trevor, Tyrone, or one of them is going to hold them down. All they got to do is get on the phone. Hey, my rent is due. Hey, my cell phone's due. Hey, this is due. That's due. But, now we're in the age of OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? Ian, I'm going to send you the link because I want you in here. But that's where we at now. That's where we are. This is a joke to them. This, that's why you get the women who say, I work, I make this money, this, that, and the other. But at the same time, I want a high value 6-figure motherfucker. Because they're trying to escape that situation that they're bragging about. They're trying to escape it. They're trying to get away from that. They don't want, it's too much. It's nice to brag about. Yeah, I make my own money, this, that, and the third. But they don't want to survive on it. It's supposed to be an activity. It's supposed to be a fun getaway from the house, a fun getaway from the kids, a fun getaway from sweeping floors and mopping and shit like that. That shit is boring. That shit is slavery. I want to do what y'all do. It looks fun. And once it's not fun anymore, then they out. It's like, motherfuckers who want to come to hip hop shit and chill with black people and shit like that until somebody starts shooting. Then it's like, all right, fun's over. Let's get the fuck out of here. Like Doc T. Hassan Johnson said earlier today, he quoted Paul Mooney, everybody want a nigga, everybody want to be a nigga, but don't nobody want to be a nigga. The myth of white femininity is this. You're unconsciously chasing the lifestyle, the aesthetic, and the spirit of white women. And that's what you think femininity is. And black men don't deserve it unless they provide white man's patriarchy. And this is why I posted it on Facebook. Women are in Clubhouse talking about black men ain't worth submitting to. Non-black men are the only ones worth submitting to. Submission is for sale. You have to buy it. It's a product. That white femininity, you have to be able to afford it. White man gets white feminine women because he can afford it. You conquered motherfuckers, y'all broke. You can't afford it. Cynthia G will tell you. You can't afford black women's submission. And black women's submission is expensive to you. Because everybody else don't pay for it. We all seen black women deal with the brokest Chad motherfucker and be feminine about it. Price tag is for you. So we read a little bit more of this, and I'm gonna close this out soon, unless somebody jump in here. So with when divorce, widowhood, or simply staying single longer than one expected makes work a necessity, something a woman cannot stop or get out of or quit for a while, some women react with rage. On some level, they may even feel like they have failed as women. Distortions such as these, especially when they are subconscious, can interfere with a woman's ability to function at full capacity on a job and may lead to difficulty with certain kinds of tasks, negotiating, for example, initiating projects, asking for and getting things without being manipulative. It is not appropriate for an executive in a bank to break down in tears when her superior criticizes something she has done. Alexandra Simmons, a New York psychiatrist, pointed out in a paper she delivered at a meeting of the American Academy of Psychoanalysts in 1975. It is not acceptable, she continued, for a senior editor earning $30,000 a year to act cute and seductive when her plan is rejected, or for a college professor to sulk because she has been given a poor schedule, hoping the dean will notice and change it. These are behavior patterns suitable for daddy's little girl rather than a liberated woman acting autonomously. See, in these man spaces, women always revert to female shit to get their way. Dr. Simmons did not just invent a bunch of high salary daddy's girls to make her point. The successful professionals she cited were among the patients who had come to her for help, women in deep conflict over their feelings of dependency. I'm going to drop the link for this because there's a whole lot more. This is a long article. All right. But this was originally written in 1979, and it was in the paper in 81. And it should basically show us that not much has changed. The only difference is our women are still practicing this shit in 2021. You want the protections and the provisions. You don't want patriarchy or your role in it, as many in the manosphere might say. Bringing in. What's going on, bro?
Peace, peace. What's going on with you?
Hey, you know what it is, man. You know.
Shoot, man, you already broke the whole thing down already. I don't shattered the whole myth.
Yeah, man. Again, and you know, some of the things we've spoken about before, you know, careers for most women, not all, because some women take this shit seriously. Careers for most women are recreational projects.
Mhm.
They're recreational projects because they've been told they need to, you know, be strong and independent. But in a lot of black women situation, some black women situation, it's a survival thing. I will say that. But for a lot of women, especially, you know, women who can pull a guy who's making enough money to take care of them while they go and do their little project or whatever. And that's what they want. They want, you know, they want to be able to practice work as recreation as opposed to how they live. They would rather it be that way. Not every woman can make that happen, you know, but that's what they would prefer. So that's why these women who are making this money are demanding men on their level or higher because they want their jobs to become an option. They want their jobs to become an option, and they want their men to provide, and they think they have a right to that provision.
In terms of the development of the
They have a right to that provision. This is a white woman saying this in the 70s. Yeah.
Yeah, and black women are following the playbook.
Yeah, they swallowed it whole.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And they're running. Well, let's say they swallowed it and they're running it right now.
Yeah.
You know, they're dictating to white women how it should go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah.
you know, but earlier to some of the discussion that was going on, like they found that there were like getaway spots for white men to take their black female concubines and bed wenches, like you know, like the Hamptons and type of thing like that. That's what they used to do actually.
You said what? Take their black concubines to the Hamptons?
Yeah, to a similar get a vacation spot. I'm talking about during slavery. I'm saying.
Oh, during slavery, yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was just a known place. You only come here if you have brought your black female concubine or bed wench. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you know, we've all seen Django. You know, we remember the bed wench chick that was in that. You know, these women in those situations, they weren't. A lot of them weren't in allegiance with you know, the black men. I mean, they were treated very different than us.
Yes.
And you know, you remember the Mandingo scene where, you know, you had the bed wench that, you know, she saw Django, and she probably was even impressed with him somewhat. But yeah, you dig what I'm saying? But you would not fool her to you know to you know, to align herself with Django over Calvin Candy. You know, you would not fool her to allow herself, because she in that particular you know, situation, she has been afforded her femininity, you know, because you know she's the bedouin. She's getting the provision of the white patriarch.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, you know, white men have developed the idea of femininity in black women. Like there's no organic femininity with them. You know, for them, femininity is, you know, I am whoever you say that I am. You know what I'm saying? They don't have necessarily a innate set idea about what it means to be feminine. They really just don't. You know, after a couple centuries, they really have no idea. It's whatever people say. You know, and white supremacy, white women, they beat us to the punch and explaining to them what being a female is.
Well, I'm gonna say this: white women have always been afforded with the ability to be quote unquote feminine,
Mm-hmm.
and black women have not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what
But Marcus, but the thing is, like we talked about before, the the privilege of being feminine, that's kind of debunked when you look at the migrants and so on and so forth. Like you got people all around the world living dirt poor. I'm saying the women, they're not trying to become men even under the harshest circumstances. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if we can really use that as an excuse for them.
let me tell you the difference. In those environments, there's no occupying dominant society or race
Mhm.
that is showing the, I guess, you know, the minority women
Mhm.
how they could be living versus how they're living with their men.
Mm-hmm.
So in those situations that you're talking about, right, these are women who they're poor, their men are poor,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no other race of men saying, hey, if you was fucking with me and not him,
all are welcome.
you understand what I'm saying? You know, you'd be better off.
Discuss that further.
But no, but that's not necessarily the case because they was already fucking with him. You know what I'm saying? So there is.
No. I think you're missing my point.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take DR for instance, right?
Uh-huh.
In DR, you know, we visit, you know, American men, especially American black men, go down to DR and they fuck with the girls down there. Now, of course, you know, I made the you know, the analogy in the last video about, you know, imagine you're the kid from the DR and you're poor and these girls here are poor
Mm-hmm.
also, and then these rich American men come down there,
Mm-hmm.
and you as the poor Dominican kid, you have to watch girls who you might find attractive, you might have a crush on,
Mm-hmm.
who will never give you a chance while these guys are around.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Watch them walk off with that guy. You know what's happening once they leave, right? You know what's happening. And that's a reality you got to live, and there's really nothing you can do to compete with those guys,
Right.
because there's nothing in that environment that is going to progress you to the level of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We are living, for the most part, in that same reality in America. Like I said, you know, men can provide. I'm sure that in DR and in Dominican Republic, you can, as a Dominican, get a job where basic needs can be met. You can feed your woman and feed the kid, and y'all can live, you know, modestly or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Then here come the Americans with this big money, and then we got the Jordans on, and this and that, and women to see that, and that's like, wow, this is something better than what I have, right?
Yeah.
But again, we don't live there. We visit, but we don't live there.
Right.
If we were living there, if a group of American black men in mass moved to DR, which sometimes they do in Brazil and sometimes in DR, but not to the level of what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with here a dominant society whose population is bigger than us, and they control the state itself, right?
Yeah.
In the Dominican Republic, the Dominicans control the state, right?
Yeah.
They control the laws, they control this, they control that.
Yeah.
If black men were somehow to,
during
to
the
take over DR
something
and
else.
run DR's, government and have their American money and this and that, you will see down there exactly what's happening here.
A challenge.
What we have here is you have,
Creative styles.
like my brother likes to say, a bigger and better deal being offered by white men, and those black women will, just by their hypergamous nature, become more feminine around those men, because not only do those men run the state, not only are there, are they the majority, numbers wise, allegedly, but I doubt it. But at the end of the day,
that is modest, that's not revealing, that's not inappropriate.
What is that you got in the background?
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
But yeah, so what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, in those poor situations that you're talking about, there's really nothing. There's no carrot that's hanging over the heads of these poor women that are in the, so they know they don't know anything else but their life, and they learn to be happy with that, but they're not seeing anything else. You go to one of these countries where a large amount of American men go down there, oh, you'll see those women do exactly what our women do here in reference to white men.
Okay.
You'll definitely see that. You know what I'm saying? You go down to DR, you go down to these countries, you say, you can take a man's woman from down there. Trust me, you can. You understand? It's just the hypergamous nature. But again, we don't run the situation. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, like, in a lot of these situations, you see, okay, they're happy and everything like that, but it's because of that.
Right.
You got rich and poor Dominicans, rich and poor people in Mexico, or whatever other Costa Rica or Belize, or any of these countries whose money is less than America. You got rich and poor men there, and in those environments, those women want the top dudes there too. But it is what it is.
That's true.
But they're not, listen, but also in those environments, because women, they not given opportunities like they're given here. They're not competing, like they're not trying to be in the workforce and all this other shit. They are perfectly happy being at home, taking care of children, as long as they can get the right man to provide for them.
But that goes back to what you were saying before, though. In a lot of cases, though, that being said, at this point, what's driving them is the ability to dominate black men. I mean, that's simply what it has distilled down to at this point. You know what I'm saying?
It's an ego project.
Yeah. Yes. All the way.
We're better than you. It's like what I read in the article is, I worked at the healthcare or health food place or whatever, and this week I made more than my husband. Is this desire to outdo men? You want to outdo, you want to outperform, but you don't want to deal with what we deal with. At the end of the day, you want to be taken care of. You want to be provided and protected. That's what you really want, at your core, as a woman. But society is pushing you to go do it yourself, and that's the contradiction. I'm gonna let you get the last word on this. We almost at 2 hours.
Yeah, I think that in a lot of ways, what we're looking at is a situation just like with what would you call it, the Appalachian trailer trash. So in a lot of cases, they will live in worse situations than black folks. Even under Jim Crow. But they were told, just like black women, in a sense, that okay, as long as you're better than as long as we as the elite white folk, as long as we say that you're better than black folk, then you don't have to worry about your material conditions. You don't have to worry about changing your behavior and being more classy, in your behavior. Thus you have the thus you have the bonnet crew. That is just an ability to show their entitlement, to say that no matter what we do, we still are going to be of the higher class. And again, that's the same thing that poor whites went through in their mentality. They said, no matter what we look like, no matter what our material conditions, we're always going to be better than black people. So in a lot of ways, black women are just exercising their ability to show that they're better than us in everything that they do. Everything that they do is basically to say we're better than black men, especially when they're getting rewarded for it. The dominant white society is rewarding them for continually being in contention with the standards and the structure that black men have set up.
Yeah, but but those black women have been given the ability to do that and feel that way by them saying, white folks.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's a like the woman said, it's false.
Yes.
It's a false sense of I guess superiority in this case.
Mhm.
Again, it's like we said in the other video. I feel like black women are practicing white supremacy. It's like you give somebody this false sense of superiority, right? You're getting it as proxy,
Mhm.
but you believe it so much now you believe, oh yeah, we're better than you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
how so? Because okay, you feel like, oh, I'm making enough money to take care of myself without you. But at the same time, you're demanding provision.
Yes. Yes.
You're demanding provision. You can't say one thing and the other. Like you can't say both things.
But like you said, but at the point where you have them practicing white supremacy, in theory at least, because again, it's all sponsored by white supremacy.
Yeah.
At the point you get them doing that, every discussion we have about them is always going to fall short. We're always going to fall short of actually completely identifying what the problem is with their behavior and so on and so forth, because they're practicing white supremacy. It makes no sense. Their behavior is making no sense. Therefore, there's really not going to be a logical explanation for anything that they're doing. It's just really just complete chaos. You know what I'm saying? Like they might give themselves afford themselves many reasons for the foolishness that they're taking part in.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no way that we can pin them down, because they're always going to move the goalpost. It's really like an insidious disease. Once we identify what they're doing at one point, they'll morph it, change it, give it a whole internal or reason for why they're doing it. That they're changing. That, like you said, they're taking this old, outdated lesbian feminism, and they're doing it right now, and they're giving a billion reasons for why that's necessary when it's really not, because the Moynihan Scissors report said that it's not necessary. It said that once black men started becoming more employed, the actual welfare numbers started to go up. When in reality, in any other kind of sane circumstance or sane, you dealing with any kind of other sane people, it would have been the opposite. The women actually would have been like, oh, okay, our men are getting more, we can slow down. So we really can't explain the madness. There is no method to it, and therefore we can't necessarily figure out a theory that properly fits what they're doing either.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like I said, man, just to sum it up, like I said, Cinderella complex, at the end of the day, this shit is going to leave a lot of, like, black women single. It's going to leave a lot of black women single. It's going to leave a lot of black relationships between men and women just in a shambles, man. Me personally, I hope, again, like, in the last couple of days, especially with this whole bonnet discussion, and as stupid as I think the bonnet discussion is, I've seen a lot of black women come out against it. I've seen a lot of, I gotta give credit to that. I've seen a lot of black women come out against it.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Oh yeah. And yeah, a lot of, I'm not gonna say there was more of them, but there was a lot of them.
Okay.
Most black women are under some idea that, everybody's telling black women how to dress, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, who's doing that? Who's doing that?
Who is doing that?
There's no law against bonnets, but there's definitely laws against some of the shit that we wear. There's definitely laws against sagging jeans. There's definitely laws against, do-rags, and, well, not laws, but like policies against do-rags and certain things that we wear in certain places. And the NBA made a whole dress code for their players.
Right.
And if the NBA was majority white men, it wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
It's because black men were dressing like black men as basketball players. So that's when they affected that dress code. But yeah, so again, that's a situation that started with Monique making a comment, and all of a sudden it became about how black men want black women to look. It had nothing to do with us. That was a woman's comment. That was a woman's conversation that somehow got flipped on us, and then they even blamed us. You saw the comment going in on Derek Jackson's wife about her bonnet and saying that pygmies followed us. What the fuck do black men look like? Trying to get into conversations about hair and stuff. These are the same black women that went in on I think one of the gymnastic girls over her hair. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we finna jump over here, and Eric Deegan talking about, can I say the N-word as a white boy? I'm about to block your ass. Anyway, we out of here. 100.
100.
All right, peace, man.